We're pretty much hugging the Arctic Circle up here in Iceland. This is a really inspirational, creative place, and one of the few places that I immediately land and feel this sense of beginner's mind and hope and calm. My name is Jay Sweet, and I'm the ambassador of music here at the Floki Studios. My job is to pretty much bring a community together in any way I can, you know. It's really fun and it doesn't get old. The world needs places like this, where the majority of the focus is on being able to let go of all the heavy baggage we carry. And the number one goal is to just create.
Okay, I think we have something enough.
But you just mailed it. It was good.
I think we just need to like cut a bunch of shit up. You know what I mean?
But dude, I'm just telling you that one, the two things is, you know that part where the Pavlov's dog dinged?
Yeah.
But how you held it, that extra.
Oh yeah.
And then you held it, and then
that's
you
the
got
whole thing. It's like
I know it's the whole
this
thing.
is like it's hard to make stuff by yourself because I'm like I don't know what's good.
No,
That's
but
what my band does. They're like, do that again.
No,
I'm like,
but the
what?
best part about it. Welcome to Floki Studios. As you can probably feel in here, we are basically at the end of the road, at the kind of end of the earth, literally. Arctic Circle is about 20 miles there. You can hear the surf. There are mountains there, mountains there, mountains there. So it's freezing, but beautiful. So why don't we come inside so I can show you guys around. We call this the Cozy Lounge. We really like it because the whole point is we don't want it to be all about isolation. We want people to have friends and family and music lovers to come in and enjoy it. It's also really nice if someone needs to get out of the space, the headspace of the studio or the control room. I actually like the stuff like these pillows, that they're all made from the sheep and the wool that are all in the valley, because everything that you see here that has wool is all from the sheep that are here. I think one of the fascinating things is this tin roof. Instead of scrapping it, we figured out through a tremendous amount of trial and error how to actually make it enhance the experience of the sound. And it's actually now one of the characteristics of the studio that makes it truly unique. Floki Studios is basically a part of the Deplar farm, and the people that are behind Deplar Farm and 11 are some of the most creative and music-loving people I've ever met. And the idea was dreamed up of, wouldn't it be cool to have a creative clubhouse? And that was the goal, to turn this co-op that was, the building's like 1919, and it was this central community general store co-op hang for this region. And I think it's a perfect place that we've turned into kind of the exact same thing. These are all things that were found in here, and like little books of prices, you know, kind of cool. But yeah, like I said, every little detail is here to remind it of its tie to the past and the valley. So Nana of Monsters and Men, who's a dear friend of mine, I came up here and showed her around and got a Newport folk sticker, and when I walked off, and she stuck it right there. I run the Newport Folk Festival, so it's the only sticker in the entire building that was allowed to be put up. So it's a little nod to my home away from home. You know, be present, be open, be kind, be together. Newport Folk. This is kind of, I knew when we were coming up here, I kind of put some of my things that make me smile and make me feel inspired, knowing that you guys were going to be here. My dad was the person who turned me on to music. When I was like 5, one of my earliest memories is my dad had a wall of records. And I just would like look at these album covers and be like, there's a whole world behind that. Literally what's going on. And when you're 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't know. And so he would allow me to rearrange his record collection. And then eventually, after looking at the art and the albums and feeling it, reading all the liner notes, you start listening to him. What I like is the secret characteristics of creating vibe, but without being overt, is When I know an artist is coming in, I've done a tremendous amount of research on what type of music they dig and what kind of things they are inspired. I've read all these interviews, so I make sure that those albums are here so that they feel when they go through and they're like, oh my God, you have this and you have that, and they feel like this is their place. Or if we know what type of adult libation you like, it will be there. I mean, favorite beer, stocked. Favorite tea, be loose leaf or whatever, it'll be over there, because we want everyone to feel like this is a home away from home because they made it here, which is an accomplishment unto itself. So now we go into what I call mission control. It's a control room. To me, it's the brains of the whole thing, not the spirit or the heart, but the brains. First thing I love is this is basically an ability to live stream. So in actuality, I've been able to see some of the sessions here while sitting at my desk in my home in Boston. And even if you are head of your label or your manager wants to see what's going on, you don't have to bring them. We can just turn on the cameras and the tracking and you can actually hear it. It's really amazing to be able to be anywhere in the world and see what's going on in the studio. There are posters everywhere and they're all real. They're not reproductions of them. And I think they add to rock and roll history. Wade basically is the one who controls mission control. He basically lives here at this API 2448.
Classic console, new, and it sounds amazing. Full digital capabilities, we've got all the plugins, everything you need that way. But I think what separates us, what makes us a little different out here is the analog, the tape, the analog console, everything. And I think it fits the vibe, right?
Yeah. And if you ever want to feel inadequate, try to feed a tape machine that's very old. Having the windows is another thing, because a lot of studios are windowless. If we're not rolling, I try to keep the windows open because I think the light and the space of the vastness of where we are, there's that cabin fever element. It can feel very enclosed. So it's really good to sometimes open the windows and remind the vastness of what is surrounding us, that we are microscopic in what is outside these windows.
Okay. All right, probably need to stop working for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just chill out and leave all these things I said in here.
100%, all good.
Thank you.
It's the duality of everything. It's a duality of creativity. You provide space and you provide all the tools, but then eventually you're staring at a white piece of paper. As soon as you go out there, you get out of the cabin fever and you are faced with the vastness of the most remote, wild, primordial human awe. And that's a pretty good mind cleanse when you're getting cluttered with all the thoughts and the creativity. Is step outside and boom.
Only about the music. Only about the music. All the light falls down the front. Another time, another me. Thank you. Pretty awesome out there.
Yeah, no.
Holy Christ.
It's amazing how much is actually not done in the room, in the studio. It's amazing how much is actually done in this room.
Okay, that'll be cool. All right, I think that's gonna be good.
See.
I think we have some chunks.
And so when you're just kind of roughing it out, you got to have a thing that you can sink into and just feel at home. So you have to have a studio couch, one that, both of these are, as you can say, perfect, loved, and lived in. One more thing, I would be remiss because the people who are from here, who helped build, actually do a lot of the building, are very proud, and they're kind of welcoming donation, we believe in what you're doing kind of things, were these trophy rams. I would be remiss to not mention how much we appreciate that. So if this is the brain, this is the heart and soul. So come on in. It's about capture, It's literally trying to get as pure of the capture of what happens in the room. And that all really comes down to these things. A lot of artists will come with maybe 2 or 3 guitars or a snare or 2. But again, getting here so that you want to make sure that they don't have to carry a lot. And so, we carry the back line that we know that they would have. But the other thing that's really fun is to make sure there are things here that they've never tried and never played. So if they feel like they've come here and they feel inspired, because there is that, you want them to feel comfortable, so you want them to have the gear that they're used to working on, but you have to have a little bit of the extra stuff here just to entice them to take a chance. I call this also the most dangerous thing in the room. It's the percussion basket. And why I call it dangerous is every significant other that has too much mezcal or everyone, all of a sudden everyone becomes a maracas expert, cowbell expert very, very quickly. So we kind of keep that way off in the corner. You could spend hours talking about every Rickenbacker and every, Fender and Bassmaster, but I got to be brutally honest that some of the best things I've ever seen in here, even yesterday with Ryan just sitting at the piano, I'm much more into less is more, because when you have so many toys and so much things at your disposal, you can go down these rabbit holes of, ooh, this sounds good and this sounds good. And to a point you have to allow the musician to play, but at one point I always feel that the job is to actually not be additive, but to gain by subtraction.
I must have made a big mistake. I've only got some time away. That's cool. Right on. We'll get there. We'll get there. I have faith.
We wanted to make sure that there's some accoutrement. Bathrooms with showers, which is great when you're working on day 3 and you stink. And then, come on out. Hot tub, got to have that when you're basically on the North Atlantic. Have this incredible sauna with views of the crashing surf, and there's a right-hand point break if you're a surfer here, right out front. So if you're a goofy foot, I'm really sorry, you'd have to go a bay over. But if you're a righty and a regular, you want to record here because, ooh, there's a set wave coming right there. Yeah, I don't really want to go back into the studio. It's this other thing. It's music. I tried my entire career to describe something that one note of music with a shared common experience of people in a room, they all know it by just knowing it. It's the reason that music exists, because it captures the thing that words cannot.
I think that's kind of that feels like a chorus of.
I really think it's not a coincidence that this place manifested itself so that now our artists are, as soon as they hear about this place, they're like, when's the next opening? Because that whole idea of pulling up stakes for whatever amount of time to just come and stay present and stay focused in a world that does everything possible to make sure you don't do either one of those things is really a gift. And I think the ones who need it, when they get here, they understand how much they really need it and they cherish it.